Welcome to Maritime with Ezinne. My name is Ezinne Azuna. We'll be bringing you a new entrant in the maritime industry.
We are getting people to realize that maritime does not start and end with the seas.
We'll be looking at the very important transport document.
85% of the Earth's surface is water.
ABC of shipping is the first port of call because that gives you the whole knowledge of what to see.
Nothing done by man is perfect. You can't give 100% where goods are cleared out of customs controls.
The key job of customs anywhere in the world is trade facilitation, not revenue drive.
Hello, welcome to Maritime with Ezinne. I'm your host, Ezinne Azuna. Today on the show, we're talking about making the port city smart. It's my pleasure and honor to have with me here in the studio a senior lecturer at the School of Transport and Logistics, Lagos State University, the person of Dr. Ogochukwu Ugboma. You're welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
All right. When we talk about port city, what's it about? You know, what's the concepts behind making the port city smart?
Well, first of all, you have a smart port, then it extends to the smart city. So what it means to have a smart port is just the use of nascent technologies in the day-to-day running of businesses in the port. So that's what makes a port smart. Then it extends to having the cities living in a smart way. And there's a saying that when you have a smart city, the inhabitants of that city don't even know how they get by their daily work, that things just go on without their knowing how it is done. That is the extent of knowing that a city is smart. Because, we are living...
So the operations, sorry, I have to cut. So the operations become seamless. That's what you're trying to say. In a smart city, there are minimal efforts, things just go appropriately.
Yes, because I was trying to say that we're in the fourth industrial revolution, which kicked off by 2011. And with it came technologies like artificial intelligence. You have things like advanced analytics, big data, Internet of Things. So what we're talking about is things that are advanced in such a way that it needs little or no human effort.
What we're talking about are things that appear alien to us in our own port city. So let's go to evaluating how smart our port city is, first of all, because I think that's where we'll now say, oh, okay, because when you say artificial intelligence, AI, those are things we hear in movies, So can we just bring it home, first of all? Let's evaluate our port city. I'm sure you may want to use the Apapa Port or the Lagos Port Complex, as it's better known, as a reference. So if we were to look at our operations in the port, are we smart, going by that definition?
Well, we're getting there because it's not something...
Are you political? All right.
These things just don't come at a go. Even cities like Hamburg, Dubai, there are mega cities that are getting smart, that we use as benchmarks, but they did not do it in a day. So I believe we're getting there. Apapa Port and all the other ports, cities we have, Warri, Rivers, we are getting there. And to measure up to being a smart port and in a smart city, there are 4 pillars of things that, policy making and governance should look at. We would be talking about security, energy, environment, mobility. So basically, these 4 things are what makes up smart ports. And those are the things that we'll be looking at in the next decade for cities that are emerging. When you talk about advanced analytics like big data, it's not just, collecting the voluminous data that matters. It is what you do with the data, because that data is what enables businesses to have strategic decision-making.
Now, do we even have data at all?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have data.
Port industry.
Yes,
okay.
we have.
In the past couple of years, would you say that we've seen enough efforts at marrying the reports from researchers or from those data to what we should actually be seeing?
Well, like I told you, it's a gradual process. And I know the management of the Nigerian Port Authority with the port concessionaires are doing a lot in trying to advance the operations of the Nigerian port system. And we will get there. It's a gradual process and we will get there, and they're doing quite a lot.
Okay, you named 4 pillars. So I know that here a lot of emphasis have been on security, but I'm also very intrigued by mobility because that's essentially is the reason for the port, you know. And when we talk about mobility, recently we saw government, this present administration, connect all the ports in the country to the rail grid. So would you say that that's is a smart move? Smart city move, a smart port move. It's a smart move.
Yes, it is. You can say it's a smart move, but it's more of intermodalism, so to speak, yes.
Doesn't that fall under what makes a city smart?
That's what I'm saying. It's all part of it. Then more so, they recently launched ETO, you know, because you need to have traffic flow and parking systems that are integrated and that are internet-based. Okay, then because we know what has been happening with the gridlock, all the trucks that are parked along the road, the chaos it causes, the breach to life and property and all that. So that ETO, if we actually manage it well, it's part of what makes a city smart. And there are other things like collecting data on emissions too, because it is part of, we need to reduce our footprints of carbon.
Yeah.
It's a big time thing in climate.
I think the IMO, it was last year, they urged countries that a particular level of emission was allowed and all that.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't know the compliance level yet.
That's.
But basically, it looks like what you're saying is that the more compliant we get with conventions, the more smart our port city becomes.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And all these areas that I mentioned, if we take cognizance and work towards it, because what we'll have to borrow from the last decade is smart and sustainability. It's not just enough for you to be smart. It is okay for you to be able to sustain it. So what we need to do is actually to have skills, to train personnel on how to get into falling in line with the smart technologies.
So that brings us to maritime education.
Okay.
Would you say that there is a void in, you know, you're a senior lecturer, so I'm sure you come across a lot of people and you also are able to identify exactly what the needs in the industry are, especially for becoming a smart city. Would you say we have enough manpower that could help us gravitate towards this?
Well, like I also say, it's a gradual process. In Lagos State, per se, the start of School of Transport was one of the major decisions the government took in trying to curb the dearth in transport technologists, transport technocrats, you know. And more so, when the light rail that's is going to end at Badagry from Siemens to Badagry. When the idea was conceived and the people that originated the whole idea were like, who are the people going to work on this rail line? So they said, why don't we train our own people? And that was when School of Transport and Logistics was initiated. And we have turned out a lot of students. And in collaboration with the ministries of transport in Lagos State, many of these students do their ITs in many of the parastatals, not just the Lagos State government, even private parastatals in transportation. They come to our school, we have synergy with them, we send these children there, they train them in skills that are needed in the industry. So I should say that capacity building is gradually coming up in the transport and maritime industry.
All right, Doc, I would implore you to hold your thoughts. Let's go on a break and we'll be right back. So viewers, please stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break. The Nigerian peculiarity seems to clamp down on us. We shouldn't accept that, should we?
No, we shouldn't. And that's why people of honor and people that know their worth are working tirelessly to ensure that these things are met up with.
Welcome back to Maritime with Ezinne. I'm still your host, Ezinne, and with me in the studio is still Dr. Ogochukwu Ugboma of the School of Transport and Logistics, Lagos State University. So, ma'am, before we went on the break, you were talking about how the smart port city would work. Would it be right for me to assume that once we get infrastructure in place and we also get compliant with conventions, then our port city is smart?
Okay, let me put it this way. You see, when you mention port city, it is the port that is the heart of the city.
Okay.
For every port city is the port that is the heart of the city. Okay. So it is the port that draws everything that happens in that city. When you're talking about smartness of the port city, you see, when the city feels it is smart, it is when the inhabitants of that city is supported in their everyday lives and they don't realize it. The way it is done, they don't realize it. Then you have arrived at a smart city.
So the Greek block did not make us smart at all.
Not at all.
The tank farms littered around Apapa does not make us smart at all.
When it encroaches to the day-to-day running
because we have tankers on the road, we don't use our pipelines.
That's what I'm telling you.
Invariably, we haven't gotten there. Not a smart city.
Not yet, but we're working towards it. You see, I think that is the goal of the Lagos State government. They have a committee that is working towards achieving Lagos State as a smart mega city, and they're from the Ministry of Science and Technology.
Okay.
So it is on board, and I say it is gradual. They are working. It's active, and we are going to achieve it.
When you mentioned artificial intelligence, my mind was like, are we going to be replacing humans with robots?
Well,
is that what that city would turn into?
No, we're talking about like cargo handling equipment now being under robotic process automation.
Are there countries where we have that operational in already?
Of course. Countries like Hamburg.
That was just behind my mind when I said that.
Yes, Europe's third largest port. And Dubai. Dubai is going there. In fact, out of 25 port cities, the first 17 are already mega cities.
So now if we were to measure efficiency of port industries or port cities, are we going to be using this yardsticks, as indices for them?
And we'll be doing ourselves a world of no good if we don't measure within those benchmarks, because we are living in the revolution and we're not isolated from the world. And know that ports are a gateway to international trade. So you wouldn't be measuring efficiency without...
But Mom, you keep talking about, we're gradually going there, it's worrisome because we have issues, concepts like this in the industry that we keep working on 5, 10 years, 15 years. So if you are saying we're on it, ideally, how long is expected of us to stay on these sort of things?
Different countries have their peculiarities.
So the Nigerian peculiarity seems to clamp down on us. We shouldn't accept that, should we?
No, we shouldn't. And that's why people of honor and people that know their worth are working tirelessly to ensure that these things are met up with. So we will get there. Once we have the adequate environment, adequate policies, adequate government, support, we will get there.
Wow.
Wow.
Because within me, I'm just playing like you get into Apapa. In fact, you don't have to get into Apapa if it were a smart port, because you have the artificial intelligence.
You don't have to. You don't even have
working.
to. Okay, let me give you an
The
instance.
documentation.
Everything is done without even anybody seeing you. Let me give you an instance. In that Hamburg, the port is not just for trade. They also have for tourism, for fishing. Okay, so normally before now, people will have to go there to get licenses to fish. But now you don't have to get your feet wet because you need to fish. You get all the licenses you need right from your house. That is smart city. That is smart port. That's what we're talking about. That things are done for the inhabitants without them realizing how it is done.
I just pray that someday we'll be able to get there.
We will be hopeful.
Now, what role? Because so many people have also mentioned that government seems too distant from the industry, perhaps because of not knowing exactly, what the industry portends for our general good. So, if we're to get there, what do we expect from government in clear terms? What would we be wanting to see? Because it's one thing, to have people in the academia like you who have thought out processes and are engaged. And I know a lot of people who are also, after being engaged by, in one or two government committees, and the results are not implemented, they are discouraged, so to speak. And so in clear terms, what are the expectations from government, from regulatory bodies? Because it has to, from what you said, it has to be a marriage of various areas, both public and private sector, to make this work. So what do you expect? We already know that artificial intelligence, the skill, the technology will definitely be coming in from the private or the private sector. So on the part of the public sector, what are we expecting?
You see, when you say government, government is, or will I say government is a set of people. People run the government. So if we want something from the government, we actually want something from the people. Mm-hmm. So these people need to be committed to ensuring that they actually want this thing to work. We can't have people that say one thing and act the other way. So if you are talking about government, do we want this to work? Or do we have selfish government or selfish leaders that will say one thing in the public and behind they are doing another thing? Provide an enabling environment. Be committed to ensuring that this... Look at where we are. I mean, This is Nigeria we're talking about.
Is there any data on where our port is as we speak? Given this, I'm in shock. I'm in shock because I really would like to know, is there any data that says, Nigeria is top 10, top 100? Okay, you rather not answer that question, right? So much needs to be done. How does this also trickle to the economic advantage for the nation? Because perhaps that's what government wants to hear. Like, how does it serve, how would it be serving the people around that port city and government invariably?
I'm sure the government knows the volume of benefits that you can reap from ports and port cities.
Let's reiterate. Let's say it again.
Because the African Conference on Trade area that involves the 54 countries of Africa was recently launched January, I think 1st January or something. If they didn't know the benefits that come from the ports, they wouldn't do that, because this is to encourage trade among the African nations. So ports serve as a gateway to international trade. How more can an economy of a country be boosted than by trade? So we know the benefits, and not just trade. We're talking about employment benefits for the citizens. We're talking about foreign exchange. We're talking about a lot of things, even export. We have a lot to gain.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for being on our show. Time runs faster than you think. So this is about what we can take today. And we look forward to more discuss. We should pursue the discuss on making our port city smart. I think it's very crucial to what we have in the economy, what we are doing in the country. And with what you've said so far, it's been an enlightening time with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. So thank you for being with us on Maritime with Ezinne. This is how far we can go today. I hope you're not worried we'll become a smart city someday. So until we come your way sometime again next time, please stay blessed. I remain Ezinne as of now.